Have you ever heard the expression herding cats? Well, in Get in the Hole, you can herd cats. It's not like the main thing, but it's a thing. Or you know, it will be next time I get around to pushing a demo release. Here's another thing. The hole can turn into Hole Man when you give it a cherry. Definitely not at all Pac-Man. It's Hole Man. And these cute little guys kick stuff into the hole. Very helpful. But they can be kicked into the hole themselves in some kind of poetic justice. See how you like it. The first skin you unlock is a hot dog. Oh yeah, there's also a fish, and the hand has jiggle physics. Oh yeah, the default thingy has a bunch of skins you can choose from. A lot of people seem to be concerned with the disembodied paw, and want the whole cat's arm included. But I have to be honest, I don't understand how that would work. Of course, the cow has to be smacked until it tips, or you can shoot it from a cannon if that seems easier. Guys, you load a cannon by putting things on this bright spot. I'm probably a bad game dev, but how do so many players miss this? There's also a piggy bank. And if you use a bomb, you can break it and get some money. Sorry, bro. You can put these little black holes into the big black hole and it makes it bigger for some reason. Also, some players figured out that if you get only black holes, then you can make the hole consume the entire screen and basically auto-win. I guess I should fix that, but I kind of don't want to. Something else. There's a boss fight where another cat paw tries to battle you. Most players find this funny at first, but then they're annoyed. But you can bomb it and take your revenge. I released a demo for the game like a month and a half ago, and most people seem to say that the game is better than they expected.
Way more fun than I expected.
Which is kind of a funny backhand compliment. But I guess that's better than it being worse than they expected. I don't know the problem, but part of it, I guess, is the capsule art is too cute. I mean, it's pretty cute. And the game's not that cute, because I'm not that good at making games cute. But the problem is it makes it look like a cozy game, and that's not what it is. Also, the game has a hole in it, so people seem to assume it's incremental, but I swear it's not. It's a roguelike. Incremental's cooler, older brother. Roguelike means you have to think and not just click, and that makes it better, right? Hate in the comments below. I get a lot of comments about making it an incremental game, and the main reason I'm not doing that is while incremental games can be fun for a few hours, I think they're basically just more boring than a roguelike with cool interactions. Personally, I just can't spend months working on something that I find a little bit boring. It's not really a marketability argument for me, but more about what I think I'd actually be able to finish. I hope that's understandable. Totally different topic, but in game dev, I've struggled with feeling like an imposter more than in most things I've done. Imposter syndrome is common in software, but it never really touched me. I guess because I was always pretty good at it and had success. But this Reddit post really resonates with me. Let me share it with you. I stopped calling myself an indie dev and started saying unemployed. Life got way easier. Oof. As the first comment put it, saying you're an indie dev is a bit like the I'm working on my novel of our time. Kind of embarrassing when I haven't made any real money. This isn't a complaint video though. I already did that a few weeks ago. Oh wait, that was 2 months ago? God dang it. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about how I'm in a constant state of being totally cooked and fantasizing about having a normal job. I'm supposed to go into Next Fest in June, and that's far away, but also pretty close. We just passed 900 wishlists on the game, which is both good and terrible. I feel like it lives in this weird no man's land where it has some potential, but it just isn't there yet. But Thomas Brush had this video where he argued games are kind of bad until they're like 95% done, and then they just non-linearly explode in quality. That's the kind of copium I'm working with right now. I have lots of ideas for improvements, but it's really unclear to me which are the best options to make the biggest improvements. That said, I have had a little success with these improvements so far. See, when I first released the demo, I unexpectedly got a lot of players. The initial median playtime started out at around 10 minutes. That's pretty bad, and I realized that it was probably because a single run takes about 10 minutes. There were unlockable skins, but they were purely cosmetic, so people would finish a run, get delighted that they unlocked a hot dog skin, play with it for like a minute, and then quit forever. Also, I apparently set the difficulty way too low. The top difficulty was called super hard, and it was not really that hard at all. As a dev, it's really hard to set difficulty accurately. See, since I've been playing a huge amount of this game for months and know the best strategies, I'm just not a reliable judge of difficulty. The usual rule of thumb is to make it easier than you think, but I undercooked it a bit. Now, I wasn't expecting to make demo changes so soon. It came as a bit of a surprise that Steam was pushing my demo. I had expected to spend a few weeks doing a marketing push, but since I apparently had players organically, I totally switched gears and went back to the dev cave. If I could get out a change quickly before the players disappeared, I could get some data on how my changes improved things. So I made each skin unique, with different starting items and abilities, and I made the difficulties way harder than before. Plus, I added an additional impossible difficulty that's unlocked after super hard, so hopefully everyone could find an appropriate challenge. I guess these changes sort of worked because the median playtime sits at 16 minutes now. That is still not that great, but it's a start, I guess. Now, my Steam data shows that 71% of players play for at least 10 minutes. And I saw somewhere, I think from Thornity, that incremental dev who's pretty successful and everywhere on the YouTube podcast circuit lately, that a benchmark for a successful game is 80% of players staying for at least 10 minutes. So, I don't know, maybe I'm doomed. It's funny because I've been accused both of being too experimental and too derivative. I can see both points. The gameplay is pretty weird and atypical. I can't think of another game where you basically physically push things with your mouse. On the other hand, there are so many whole games these days. I mean, honestly. And I feel like these things kind of don't work so great together, at least visually. Because of the slightly unusual controls and the physical weight of the objects, I feel like the pace of the game is a little bit slower than I'd like. In trailers, I really fight the temptation to just speed everything up by 150% or something. I don't know, maybe I should just do that. It feels like I've been working on this game forever, but it's only been 4 months since the game looked like this. Now it looks basically the same, except it's not white. And it's better, I swear. A game seems to be an accumulation of hundreds or thousands of tiny details. I'm well over 400 commits deep on my Git repo, and it's hard to know what to discuss in a video like this. I led the video with some of my highlights of silly things you can do in the game, since I feel like those are what I'm good at making and what I feel like makes this game special. My specialty is definitely not human psychology and understanding what people like, so let's ignore that and hope that adding more weird interactions and small touches will paper over the gap. There are lots of other tiny details I'd love to talk about, like check out the landing indicator for items. It's cool because you can get under it and do cool strats. This little puff of smoke when stuff hits the ground is so subtle, but I don't know, I just love it. The fireball is actually on fire, and when you put it in the hole, all the logs are on fire too. It lets me have this cool moment in the trailer. I also love the burp effect on the hole every time I see it. And check out this XP system I'm working on. It seems pretty satisfying. I really wanted to give the player something else to focus on besides just pushing. I added this display at the side that shows everything you have in the streak, and whenever you get bonus points from them, they light up. The streak bonus also lights up whenever you get a bonus from it. And when things fall into the hole, they disappear smoothly. This isn't just from becoming really far away, but they actually shrink before they disappear. I think it creates a really cool illusion of depth. I know I already showed a bomb in the intro, but check out all the details of the explosion in slow motion. It's just really cool, and I'm pretty proud of it. I'm doing my best over here, and I'm committed to doing the June Next Fest, and then hopefully releasing within a few months after that. As usual, everything's always up and down. The YouTube has felt a little rough lately, if I'm being honest. In the past, I've had pretty successful shorts, but my more recent ones just aren't hitting how I hoped. I honestly think they're bangers, so I'm not really sure how to improve my chances. I have a feeling I'm not quite hitting the right niche yet. I hope this video was enjoyable. I've been procrastinating a second devlog for this game ever since I released the demo, because I just didn't know what to say. I just wanted to show off the cool stuff I've done since last time, so that's ultimately what I did here. Check out the game on Steam and give it a wishlist. I'd love to be able to hit 1,000 before Next Fest. Subscribe to the channel too, cause why not? Oh yeah, and for some reason we're stubbornly stuck at 9 reviews on the demo, and I don't know why. Be the 10th, come on, just do it, be the 10th. I'll see you all next time. Bye.